big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome to episode number 24 with The Take with Willie and Iain. It's The Take with Willie and Iain.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? I've been put off by the fact that we've been sitting here for an hour because Henry
didn't know what an ST card was. SD card.
We've had to go and get a card or something. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, It's throwing me off. This will be the worst show I've ever done.
Yeah, we got the chance to watch Kyrgios. I think he might win this one. Hope so. Fuck. Do you reckon if he doesn't win this one, he won't win one?
No, I reckon. Oh, this is a good chance for him. It's funny though. You can watch him.
I fucking love him, mate.
I love him.
He's a loose prick, and I just think everyone can just sort of see themselves in him, like because he's a wild, just says what he wants, and like everyone has those emotions. They just don't let him out. He's in a perfect. I mean, probably not in the perfect sport, but like John McEnroe didn't fucking help it, did he?
No, exactly.
He sort of set the tone for how you can be, and fucking Kyrgios has ran with it and going, fuck everyone.
He's the Willie Mason of tennis.
No.
He is. And now he's out there, good luck, and he's against a bloke that doesn't have a country.
Yeah, his name's Karen. So if he doesn't beat a Karen, if he can't beat a Karen, come on, Kyrgios.
Karen from Russia. And first of all, I should say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Yeah.
It was a lovely day. I had a wonderful day with my young bloke. Got a good guitar, actually. Which,
I could see that.
Yeah,
do you play guitar? I could see two.
I've got many skills. Many skills.
Great skills.
Many skills. One thing I want to talk about, William, they had the opening of the stadium over the weekend, the Allianz Stadium. Please excuse my voice. I'm pulled myself out of my deathbed. I literally have not been sick for so long, and then
you got two this year.
Two this year,
and
which is unusual.
Like both of us, obviously I reckon before that, the fucking double jab shit. Like I haven't been sick for like 20 plus years, and then obviously not hanging out with everyone, and having that sort of like
your immune system
just goes back to normal. So like I've been a little bit under the weather, like maybe once or twice. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this? You know what I mean? So I'm constantly like taking care of my body now. Every now and again, you know what I mean? I try and eat right and do the right things until something happens on the weekend. Every now and again.
Occasionally.
Occasionally, not as much as it used to, but like sometimes, when big shacks in town and all that kind of stuff, and some good mates down here, like it'll happen. But like other than that, I'm usually pretty good at the moment. So, but it's just trying to get your immune system back up to where it was.
Because you're hidden in a house for 2 years, your immune system's gone up.
And if you did do anything, you were by yourself anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Going out for a walk by yourself, couldn't stop and talk to people, which I didn't mind at the time. Because not fucking sitting in the zone and just sitting there and not talking to anyone's good.
It's not good for you. It's not good for your immune system.
No.
So I'm going to get back out more. I've been going out all the time too. Anyway, I went to the stadium, and on the Friday night, the Roosters game, which it's for those that haven't seen the stadium, I know everyone's complaining about how much it costs and that, but it is such a world-class venue. It is just magnificent. And I backed it up going to the Wallabies, and I took my young bloke and one of his mates, different mates each time. But on the Saturday night, trying to get home, you can't get an Uber because everybody's booking Ubers, which is understandable. There's 42,000 people. But let me tell you, if you're a cab driver and listening to this show and you are deliberately not picking up fares because you're not going far enough and you're trying to charge me $70 to get from the footy stadium in the eastern suburbs.
It's literally 5 kilometres.
Go and eat a bag of dicks. I just cannot believe. They wonder
$70 they try to charge you for.
$70. I offered the bloke 50 too just to get my
We're
boy
in Bronte
out.
at the moment, people.
I just sit
and
there
it's
going,
like,
is this bloke
literally, mate, did you think about walking?
I would have if I didn't have the two kids with me.
I suppose, yeah.
Anyway, so if you're a cab driver, don't be a prick. Don't be a prick.
Such wankers.
The reason why Uber's taking over from cabs is because you're all pricks. The end. And I'll tell you the other thing, Will, they have all listened to the show. I think they did a study and 96.3% of current and former NRL players all listen to this show.
Yeah. And
they took your advice about Mad Monday. Not one disaster.
Yeah, it's good.
So that was all on you.
I know.
I think
there's a lot of obviously there's decent people in clubs now, in those particular roles that have to look after these players, mate. And you got to educate them, and you got to be with them. You got to organise. Just say if they are. And I don't think Mad Mondays are like the Mad Mondays that I was on.
Not anymore.
It's not as crazy. I don't even think half players even turn up. I mean, like, we can go into the Manly thing after, but like apparently half the team turns up. But like, yeah, I just don't think it's as crazy as it was, which is probably a good thing. I mean, they probably, and I reckon people are just, these players are nearly sick of fucking looking at each other. They've been fucking hanging out with each other for the last 3 years in COVID bubbles.
Yeah.
Non-stop, you train together. They were up the Gold Coast for the last, just say 4 months of the year last year. Was it 4 months? Just say 4 months? Like living in the same hotel. It's just like, ugh, just fucking sick of you. You know what I mean? Like, I reckon you get a little bit of that as well. A little bit. I'm not sure. I'm just saying, like, just, to hang out. I mean, I was in an era where none of this shit was happening, and you can do what you want. And if you want, as soon as you're in your car and you go home, it's your time. Imagine going, after training, hanging out, just been hanging out all day, whatever, training, and then in the shower, and then on the bus back to the hotel to hang out with someone again.
In the dining room.
I don't know, because not everybody gets along with everyone. Trust me. It's rare that you get a team that everyone gets along with. And you see probably everyone's different personalities when you're with them 24/7 as well. Because when you don't see that person that you don't particularly like that much in your team, you have to fucking put up with him for about 2 hours, 3 hours of the day, and then I get to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have to hang out with him all the time. They have to go fucking dinner with you every night. Like, I think, people nearly at their breaking point, I reckon, if it wasn't for this year being a little bit different, but last year, imagine being part of the Warriors team. I always think about that. I'm like, fuck, they've done good to not kill each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeez. And then what about the other bullshit with, I think we spoke about it last week with, the draw come out and the Warriors, they have home games. No one else gave them their home games. So someone wrote to me on Instagram just going, fuck, what about that? And I didn't really understand. He goes, and one of them was Magic Round, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah, that's right.
So they get 8 games at Mount Smart. And everyone's, at the time, everyone's like, well, thank New Zealand, because if New Zealand wasn't willing to be here for the last 2-3 years, there'd be no NRL. Let's fucking have a think about what you just said. There would be no NRL if the Warriors wasn't here. Why wouldn't a team, like most teams, give that game back to the Warriors for what they did for us?
Yeah, agreed.
I just don't understand why. Like, and I'm like, maybe they will. Maybe some clubs will. But chances are they won't. They won't give a fuck. It's on with the next year. You know what I mean? Like, I think the game, the NRL should have approached every club and said, look, you got to give that home game back to New Zealand. And so they can have fucking 24 home games. So they can start bringing money back in. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a business at the end of the day. And there'll be a different team next year. But I think that should have come from our boss, Volandis or Abdo, to go, all right, what they done for us, they kept the game afloat, because if they didn't, we'd be fucked. Give him your home game. Give him that home game. And
I think also, if you look at the sides that are probably going to be competing for the 8, or they're fighting, they need to win every game, fair enough. But for sides like Penrith and the Roosters and that are going to 100% make the semis every year, then just throw them a bone.
Just do it. I think it's the right thing to do. If you've been playing in the NRL for the last 3 years, you'd know the sacrifice that the New Zealand Warriors have made.
Yeah, and hopefully now that they've moved back to New Zealand, no one else decides not to play for New Zealand because they play in New Zealand. They've always played in New Zealand. If you sign with them, you've got to play in New Zealand. So speaking of Penrith, we weren't really speaking of Penrith, but I'm sick, so that's as good a segue as I can do. But Tyrone May, the Penrith winger, he has assaulted a bloke in a pub at the end of grand final celebrations last year. Pretty weak assault too. He just sort of pulled.
He didn't even really do that much. I mean, but anyway, you don't have to do much. You have to just touch someone.
He shouldn't have touched the bloke, and so he's been handed a 2-game suspension. Which fine, yep, okay. He's brought the game into disrepute, and everyone's seen the footage.
When did he just get sentenced? So everything just got delayed.
Yeah, so there were delays through the courts, and then it's gone to court, and so obviously they couldn't do anything until the court case came back. So it's not like that.
So when was the court case?
Last week.
Okay.
So they've come through with...
I just need to get some context, because when I read it, I was like, how the fuck did he get away with this?
Yeah, so
I'm still thinking it, because I know the context now.
Yeah, so essentially what the NRL has done, they're giving him a 2-game suspension, but then on the eve of the finals, and then they've said, no, you can do it next year when you're playing in your first game against the West Tigers or big games like that.
And this is not even a knock on Tyrone May. Good on you. Like, you're winning. You get to play semi-final football. I don't think he's played it. I don't think he's played semi-final football anymore.
No, it's his first
This is on the NRL.
Yeah.
This is the stupidest fucking decision I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't hate on Tyrone May. He's probably been sitting in the back of his head going, fuck, I could miss the semis, or hopefully it comes back before the semi-finals. I can just take those 2 games here and there. And it's hitting right now, and the game just went, okay, you can take them, just take them next year. Like, what message does that send to everyone else?
It's a bizarre decision. And it's
so bizarre. Is it Abdo's decision? Is it Volandi's? Is it the judicial system? Whose decision? And who's, like, if you're in your own right mind and you've got to make that decision, you're sitting around going, yeah, well, you just say, so some of these players can't play because suspension's on the field, but you can assault someone off the field. Wait till your shit comes back. And then when the suspension, when the judicial system's made their mind up, oh, we'll just suspend them next year. Don't worry about it this year. That would have had to be the talk in that room at the time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then someone goes, yeah, that sounds good.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Just do it next year. That'll be a great message to send all the players and all the young kids. So there's no repercussions to your actions. So I cannot hate on Tyrone May. All he's done is play football, play some great football this year, and he would have been happily just gone, yeah, well, whenever it comes, I'll take it. He was probably hoping it wasn't this time, but it has been, and he can still take it next year. You play for Penrith, who cares about your first 2 games? You're still going to make finals and stuff like that. Could be West Tigers and fucking someone else, Gold Coast. I don't know.
It's not going to be.
It doesn't even matter. Like, I mean, even if they are hard games, you can just take round 1 and 2 off. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand.
And I get that it's an off-field incident, so they're talking. So, but if you look back over,
that's what I'm saying. For all the off-field incidences that's happened in this game, which has been fucking hundreds, there's been some people that have got absolutely the book thrown at them.
Yeah.
For things like this. This is like bringing the game into disrepute. This is all the, like whatever they're talking about. And then you get 2 weeks, but you can do it next year. That's the bizarre thing.
Well, Mitchell Pearce got 8 weeks for the old dog incident. And I mean, if you look at it, he didn't assault anyone. He was in a private party.
Yeah.
The dog probably didn't give consent.
Would it be the same, just say if it was Nathan Cleary? What about you? Would it be such a big deal? Like, would they? I'm saying,
yeah.
If it's Cleary or Luai, Fisher Harris, Kickow, these big guns, or does it not matter because it's Tyrone May? He's not that big a name. He's a gun player. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, if it's Cleary, would they make Cleary take the 1 or 2 games?
It's Taylan May, isn't it?
Taylan May, yeah. Sorry, Tom. Yeah, Taylan May. So I'm just saying, would they make Luai take the 2 games right now? Fisher Harris. Or are they just thinking because Taylan May ain't the Brian To'os and Crichtons and all these sort of things, he's a lesser,
he's a lesser name.
Lesser name. He's not a big enough name. We can just do it next year.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't happen if it was those big name players. But everyone's got to be ruled with the same fucking measure. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
And if you look at the number of people that have missed grand finals, there's Isaac Luke missed one.
Isaac Luke would be sitting there going, can I get suspended next year? I'll take my suspension next year. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can fuck up on the field in a game where you just make a mistake in a high tackle, but off the field, you can assault a dude, but then take your suspension next year. That's the message that they're sending. That's what I'm saying.
It's bizarre.
It's a stupid message. And it's bizarre. And if I was just telling you, Henry, about what's going on, if you knew nothing about our game, I just explained that to you, you'd be like, why? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just suspend him now? Because that's the right thing to do. You got your court hearing, everything happened, and this happened. But Lindsay Collins can't play in the finals because he did a hip drop on someone. Like, if things are happening like that, he's going to miss, potentially two semi-final games. And someone's going to be in a position in the next couple of weeks where they're going to be in to face the judiciary.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fucking paying $1.
Yeah,
that someone's going to be in this position because this is a fucking rough game. This is a man's game. And shit happens. And you're like, well, fuck, you could just go and assault a dude off and just can't I do my suspension next year for it? For what I just did now? Like, that's the sort of message. It's just fucking bizarre. Yeah, I don't get it. And I reckon if Taylan May had a cop 2 weeks and they said, you got to take it out, he'd be man enough to go, all right, I did the wrong thing. Yep, I deserve it. Bang. But he's like, I got a fucking free pass.
It's
you
Christmas
idiots.
For him.
This is Christmas.
Yeah.
And good on you, kid.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it was that bad a thing that he did off the field. It's not like he did half the shit that some of these fucking scumbags have done off the field that are still playing now. He just did, he was sticking up for a mate, all that kind of stuff. He copped it through the judicial system, and then he knew he had to wear it from the NRL, and this is what they give him. He's just like,
I'm playing. Don't care.
See you later, guys. Who cares? I'll take next fucking year off. Who gives a shit? God, it's bizarre. I'm just saying, it's just a bizarre. It's just weird. It's just not how they usually do things.
So we've talked before as well about saying, like, if you're looking at suspensions, then they should tier games.
Yeah,
so you got one game, like you get a 3-game suspension. Well, finals games are worth 2 of those, right? Yeah. Or state of origin's worth 3 of those, or whatever it might be. That just sort of brings it.
Yeah, if you had an opportunity, if you had this, the choice of going, playing a grand final, you can get suspended for the next year's first 5 games. You're taking 5 games easy.
Yeah.
You can get suspended for Origin, or you get 3 games after Origin. Done. 3. Or 5, whatever. I think they're nearly on par. 4 games, 5 and 4 games. You're going to take the suspension easily over an Origin or a grand final.
How many weeks are we giving Henry for not being able to work the podcasting?
Fucking year.
He got 12 months.
Yeah.
He got 12 months.
You're the Les Boyd of podcasting. You wouldn't even know who that is.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of Les Boyd, didn't he play for Manly?
Yeah, he did.
There we go. What about
this?
He was
the great.
Segue?
One of the greats.
It
was a good segue.
So Manly are a basket case. There's no question that Manly are a basket case. They've essentially, I don't know how it's all getting bragged out through the press, but that's what happens now. If I was Manly, I'd be going and making sure that you stopped every leak getting out. But apparently at the moment, they're all off Cherry Evans. They want Trbojevic to be captain. They have done an internal review where they've asked the players whether or not they want Des Hasler to be coach anymore. They've got half their players not turning up the Mad Monday. The joint sounds like
Is this all official? Is this like what they did? Is this all rumours?
Well, I don't know.
Are these rumours about the Cherry Evans things and wanting Trbojevic to be captain? Because I think that's just rumours.
I reckon, to be honest, when you look at stuff like this, there has to be some element of truth to it, because otherwise, so they reckon with this Cherry Evans thing that he got preferential treatment, right? And so, actually, I'll tell you a funny thing. I saw, I was on Instagram the other day for once, and there was a thing about, maybe it was Twitter, I don't know, they're different, aren't they? But I saw there was a thing that showed a clip of Marty Tapau, and he was running decoy runners, and it looked to the naked eye, he was blowing up every time they didn't pass him the ball, basically. It looked like they looked like they were cutting him out deliberately. I think I saw that, all the other stuff, and I was like, well, maybe there is a bit of drama going on there. But I look at it now and I think, if you're doing an internal review, so just say you're playing for Manly, and we'll talk about your time there as well, and whether there was backroom stuff going on there, but you're finishing of season, right, where you know that they're trying to maybe flick the coach or trying to reduce the power or whatever, and there's been a lot of drama, and they give you a 50-question sheet. Like, how seriously are you taking that as a player?
Yeah, none at all. You're not even caring. You just want to finish the season off. Like, my time there, it was at the time of, like, I was 35 years old, so I didn't really give a shit. If you're going to pay me fucking $300,000 just to play footy, I'm going to do it. I was 35. I was just like, well, thanks, guys. Anyway, so I was just, it was really fractioned at that time, because that was when they let go of Chocky Watmow and the Cherry Evans sort of saga when he was going to go to the Gold Coast and then he stayed. You can sort of see the division there at that club, where you had those great players from the late 2000s, early 2010s. Yeah, it was a bit of a split in the club. I didn't care, because I was friends with most of the guys anyway, and I was just there just to do a job. I had no worries about what was going on politically, but you could tell that there was dramas off the field when, Bozo was still floating around, and Peter Peters and all these sort of guys. They're all little fractions of the club here, board members here, like coaches, owners, no one on the same page. I can just go, wow, it's a bit of a shit fight. I got it, but I didn't really care that much, because I wasn't going to stay there, and I was just out the next year. I just, it was just like, it was one of those clubs. It's hard. I mean, I had a great time there, great bunch of blokes. I love twos, everything like that. But I could see there was a lot of shit happening at that club. You know what I mean? It could be, and clubs like that, like Manly, when Manly's down, the NRL, the media love to fucking find shit and dig in and just hammer them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody hates Manly. They have that attitude. So everyone hates us. Whatever goes wrong will go wrong, and they'll try and divide us and all that kind of stuff, which makes them stronger in a way as well. You can see how they look like they were pretty committed when, Trbojevic and DCE's doing an interview with Danny Weidler. All this kind of stuff. Is there rumours? There's here, there's that, and they shut it all down. They want to look, they want to look like they're together. But all the shit about DCE and Des and all that. I said, who the fuck's going to be your captain? Jake Trbojevic doesn't want to be captain. You know what I mean? He doesn't want that pressure. Tom doesn't want to be captain. DCE's like 33, 34 years old. He's captain of Queensland. He's near captain of Australia. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a senior player there. He's highly respected within that playing group. I don't think you could give it to someone else unless, like, Cherry left the club. You know, and then you hear rumours about, you know, Des, if Des goes, Tom and Jake will go. Like, that's another rumour. But imagine if that was true. Imagine if I think they got something in their clause, if Des is not coached, blah, 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 I can renegotiate with someone. Like, imagine losing Tom Trbojevic over just your ego and your power trip, whoever you are, who's controlling everything, who's trying to control everything. I don't know who it is, but it's always someone up there with the ego and power, and just they get old and they just get, you know, they might have a bit of beef with Des fucking 20 years ago. They'll try and, you know what I mean? It's always some shit going on with clubs. People don't understand how political clubs are, especially clubs like Manly. They're built on that shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand because I was there for that 1 year, but I can't sit here and say this is how the club is. All I know is just like, you know, from what I see, I just think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and bullshit just to try and divide them. You know, like, who the fuck is going to coach instead of Des?
Yeah, who's they going to get?
Des is a top 5 Hall of Fame coach already. Who are you going to get?
Cameron Ciraldo.
You can't get Ciraldo. We've got him. But I mean, like, you just can't just go out and just develop these coaches. Like, they haven't developed the assistant coaches. Like, apparently they want to get rid of all Des's staff and try and just really, like, try and make Des sort of jump before they sack him. Like, what the fuck has Des done wrong? Obviously, he left to go to the Bulldogs for a reason. And then he went back there only because they changed ownership and the Penn family are running it. The Penn family need to probably really take control of this whole situation. Say, oh, look, we own the club. This is what's happening. They need to come out and make a statement to shut all this shit down. They own the club. Des ain't going. Trbojevic ain't going. DCE's captain. Fuck off. So that's it. That's all they need. Because they have all the power, the Penn brothers, the Penn family. They own the club. But obviously people are pulling strings and all that kind of shit. It's just very political, which I fucking hate.
Well, to be honest, there's fractures in. Like,
do you reckon there's a divide in the club, obviously, because of that round? What happened?
Look.
And because maybe like, you know, there's a few injuries and everything like that. Maybe it just coincided with that happening. Or is it a coincidence? Or is it fucking... Did it really happen? We don't know that because we can sit here and just say they haven't been good since that round. I'm like, yeah, well, they were in games and they just sort of lost it. It doesn't mean there wasn't fucking, they're out in the field and they're hating each other and arguing and they're not at training together. And, you know, we can sit, you know, the media will sit there and speculate that because it worked out in their favour, didn't it? The narrative that what they were saying has worked out perfectly in their book. Yeah. But if you're a Manly player, you're probably going, nah, man, fucking just got beaten the last 4 or 5 games. We tried. But we just got beat by better teams.
So just say you're...
I'm not sure. I just fucking don't know because I'm not going to sit here and just think that I know everything about the club and say that round divided the whole club and it split everybody apart. Because I think, if anything, probably nearly brought them closer. If you're going to just say if you thought Des didn't have your back or DCE, who was the 2 guys front and centre?
Yeah.
Who were those? Who were they? It was DCE and it was Des. Copping all the hits. All the hits. No one else had to do an interview. No one did shit. Those 2 were up there, copping everything that other people have caused, and they're each to their own. Your beliefs, you do what you want. This is Australia. It's not a communist country. It's not everything. It's fucking democratic. We can do what we want. Good on you. But Des was there, front and centre. And so was DCE. So if they're not, they're your leaders. You know what I mean? Trbojevic and, you know, like, and Tom, they just want to play. Tom's been out all year. He's like, fuck this.
So honestly, Will, imagine you're a senior player at that club. What do you do? Like, whether it's perceived or whether it's real, how do you fix, like, what do you do as a senior player to get everyone together and go, like, we're going to be all together again next year?
This is not that hard. This is not that hard. Just everybody have a break, cool off. I don't give a fuck who turned up the Mad Monday. As I said, I don't think Mad Mondays are what they were. It probably sucks that half your team wasn't even there when you pretty much everyone should be there at that one final time for the year. And then you go separate ways. You do your medicals, all that kind of shit, whatever. Do you. You come back into camp in just say 4 weeks, come back 4 to 6 weeks, I'm not how long, and you sort the shit out right there and then. You all sit down with the coach, with the players, and you get it all out. And everybody on the same page before we even do one training session. You got to do that. And I think that's what will happen. You'll have a bit of a crisis meeting or do it now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, do it now. But you don't know. Like, I mean, whoever's going to be there next year, get in there. other than that, no one gives a shit what fucking other people are doing. If you're leaving, if Marty Tapau's gone, if Dylan Walker's gone, yeah, see you later. Who cares? Whoever's here next year is going to be part of this club. We all need to be on the same foot because whoever you're bringing in just needs to buy into what they're doing. They don't have to know what happened this year.
And they have to know what they're buying into as well.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody just needs, like, whoever's there next year, the leadership team, all that kind of stuff, they all need to get together and just mash it out. How do we feel about, like, what happened after that round? Did it affect anyone? All these questions need to be asked, like grown-ass men. Is everyone happy with DC being captain? Fucking say it. You know what I mean? Like, is everyone happy with Des? Is everyone happy with this? Our training, this, players getting along. Like, I know everyone doesn't get along, but they need to mash it out like that. Like fucking men. This is not under 16s where you talk behind people's, all that sort of bullshit. Grown-ass men, fucking grown-ass game, act like it. And I think, they've got the leaders in there. Like Jake's very honest, so's Tom, DCE's like that. I think they've got pretty good leaders there, so... That's the way. That's the way I'd handle it. You just fucking get in there and just, like, especially if it looks pretty divisive, doesn't it?
It looks awful.
It doesn't look good from a, if you're a Manly supporter or or even just following sport in general. If you look at it, and go, oof, geez, how'd that season end? And you go by the timeline of what happened from that round. It's just like, fuck, you guys hate each other. Maybe not. Maybe that's not the case.
The Titans brought in Mal Meninga as the head of culture. Do you think that the Manly side could bring in Mick Neal as the head of culture there? I feel like he could make a big difference.
The thing about with Des. Des runs that culture, man. He was part of those, like, 80s and 90s, like, great sides. He knows exactly what the culture is. He was coach of the premierships that they won. Those big runs into the semi-finals, grand finals. Like, he is that dude that has to be the coach. I don't know what they're trying to do there. That's where it sounds very sinister and very, just shit that goes on that, like, nobody would really know apart from, like, people that are there. Because that is a very fraction club at the moment. And when, as I said, when Manly's down,
everybody's
people wants to kick. People come in and kick them while they're down. I think that's one of the reasons why they're always so successful, because they know that everyone hates Manly. That's one thing I knew when I was there. Everyone fucking hates us.
I don't hate them now because of the Brojoviches. I love them.
Oh, yeah, I think so too.
Changed.
And
They've changed.
DCE, he's a good guy. He's a good kid.
Cameron Murray, let's be honest, if it wasn't finals and it was round 3, would Cameron Murray be playing this weekend?
No. But in saying that, it's not like he was out cold like, Lindsay Collins in the last couple of weeks where he's, like, been stiff. Sort of got hit, rattled up, just really, like, dazed. Just like he got, like, just, like, popped in a fight. Yeah. Like, got up straight away and he was fine. You know what I mean? But if he was fine, he would have passed all his tests.
He would have passed the HIA.
He would have passed tests like that. But it was like a delayed sort of thing. And, yeah, I don't think, if this happened round 2, I think he'd be missing round 3.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is, and how do you measure this?
Finals.
How do you do this? Like, how do you as a coach or even Cam Murray or anyone just go, no, you're not playing? It's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, and he'd be trying, and all they got to do is get a specialist to come in and say,
and he'd be doing everything to get his head right. It'd be hyperbaric chambers. There'd be everything like that. There'd be a lot of testing and do it. Because he's got to watch himself, man. Like he's copped a few bad knocks this year, and he needs that brain to have a bit of a rest. But yeah, it's hard. Like if he's feeling okay, if he's been doing some light stuff all week, and but what's a Sunday game? Thank God, so he got a massive rest, which is good. So it gives him ample opportunity to get everything right. He probably won't run till Friday. You know what I mean? Or Saturday captain's run. I wouldn't make him do anything.
He doesn't have to at this point. Yeah,
maybe I was just thinking, just when I watched that game, I was like, oh man, why'd you dip like that? It's not like, I understand if the guy's 6'5", you're trying to hit his in the guts or something like that, but like, fuck, that's, he's got perfect tackle technique, but when he gets it wrong, he fucking gets it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's Kevin Aguama. Like, he's big enough and strong enough to hit him up top, not dip. He'd be up top, bang everyone, grab legs and just drive him back. You don't have to dip that low. I mean, like, especially in the first, 5 to 10 minutes, like, that's where the collisions are the biggest. So, I hate seeing that to a young kid. He's 25 years old, 24, 25 years old. He's got another 10, 10 years left in him. You don't want to see, You know, like the Boyd Corner
yeah.
and Jake Friends. If you're not looking at that, going, fuck, I need to change my tackle technique. Fucking hell.
One thing that bothered me, and I said before, I was out at the game on Friday night, and every time Latrell Mitchell touched the ball, he got, I mean, it was noisy. I went to the Wallabies game on Saturday night, and the Friday night game, there was so much more noise on the Friday night than there was on the Saturday night.
God, what do you expect?
And every single time, I think it's because the South supporters have got no teeth, so the noise whistles out better. But I get it that Latrell Mitchell, there was a thing with Manu last year, and he played for the Roosters, and players that play for old clubs always get booed. And I remember your game against the Bulldogs in, it's part of it, right? But I just felt like surely you lose interest. Like every single time he touched the ball, every single time, Will, the crowd went nuts. I'm like, okay, you made your point now.
And that's coming from Roosters fans as well. They're not really that passionate, are they?
No,
I wouldn't have thought so. They turned up for that. I mean, like, I think, did Latrell make a comment this week that it was like, was it a bit too much? Was it over the top or anything like that?
Oh, look, everyone's jumped on him again. I want it well on the record that I think Latrell Mitchell is not only just a superstar player, but I think the hatred that's aimed towards him is just so inappropriate. So inappropriate.
Latrell's been handling it really good.
And he has.
People don't understand, like, just say with the media and how they get stories and all that sort of shit. Like, he had to face a whole media scrum the other day. And they asked you at least like 50 questions, like the same way, twisted about 50 different ways, sliced about 1,000 different times, but it's exactly the same question. What they were trying to do was trying to compare it to Adam Goodes and what happened to Adam Goodes. But that was a lot of racism and a lot of bullshit that with the AFL fans, and they did it for like a year, didn't they?
18 months, yeah.
It was a year and a bit, and it was relentless and it was awful. It drove him out of the game. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in sport. What AFL did to Adam Goodes. Fucking idiots.
So
anyway, they tried that angle. And like people at home, you need to understand how the media work. They would have already had that in their back pocket going, I'm going to try and compare it to Adam Goodes. So we'll just keep asking him questions like, oh, do you think it's got anything to do, do you reckon it's as bad as Adam Goodes? No, he probably would have said, no, I don't think so. And then we'll ask it again. Oh, yes, sort of. You know, like all he had to do was like fill in the blanks of that fucking story and they've got it. You know what I mean? And that's what would have happened. He had a big fucking scrum around him with about 100 reporters, all asking different fucking questions about the same sort of way, about the booing, and then they would have already had the sort of Adam Goodes angle on it. When there wasn't any racism thrown around, it was just proper, just fucking crazy, booing. It's Latrell. He expects that sort of shit. And he can handle it. He's man enough to handle it now. A couple of years ago, maybe not. But that was racist shit getting thrown at him. If there was any racism on the weekend, he would have fucking said so in that interview.
Yeah, for sure.
He would have said, they called me this, or he would have said it straight after the game, or he would have reacted different after his kicks. He was laughing after it. Do you know what I mean? But like the way that the media do it and the way that they paint this whole picture, it's just like bullshit. Imagine what they're going to fucking do. If he thought it was loud on Friday, what the fuck is Sunday going to be?
Worse now.
It's going to be worse.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's going to embrace that shit and he'll probably fucking kill it. He'll be laughing his ass off when he slots those fucking goals over because it feels better when he's getting them. You can sort of get back at the crowd because he plays with the crowd as well. He loves that. Don't get it twisted with Latrell if you think he's trying to have a little bit of a whinge. That dude's a beast. He can cop whatever. He can cop everything. Just no racist shit. No like personal stuff. Just have a good time with him and it's fine. It's like anyone. He's a human being. If you have a good time, take the piss, whatever. Yeah, miss, blah, blah, all this sort of shit. You get personal when you say some stupid shit. You do that to me, you do that to anyone, then you'll get a reaction. He didn't react that anyone said anything to him, but it's just the media beat up. It's the finals. We've got some shit to talk about, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But Latrell can handle that shit like a man, you know what I mean? Like he's a boss in that situation. The only difference was they got beat.
I just don't get the hatred from the Roosters
the
fans
hatred.
either.
I mean, hey, what do you think about to 17-18 or was it 18-9? Yeah, 18-19 when he won your 2 premierships.
Yeah, he's a premiership.
But he went to South, which is their the biggest rivalry in the NRL, and he's playing good, and he's Latrell, and he's too good sometimes, and like people just want that sort of dude to pick on. I understand because I was that dude as well, so I can feel it. I can feel it. But, like, I didn't kick goals and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, when he's kicking, like, he's right next to him.
They scored out wide all the time too.
And it was like they scored out wide all the time. He's like, and it was a bit of fun because you could see on his face that he was having fun with the crowd. You know what I mean? Like he was not at all bothered by it. He was getting beat by 8 or 10. He's belting on his rabbit chest and like all that sort of stuff and loving it. You know, but you ask him 100 different questions like that, and it would have been for ages. And then they get this little snippet saying, "Oh, it's like Adam Goods, and it's a little bit too much." And like, I think Kiri come out and went, "Oh, boo-hoo," because they're good mates. You know, I fucking think it's hilarious. Like, you feel sorry for Latrell, oh, boo-hoo, Latrell, because it's a bit of fucking like everyone knows that Latrell can fucking handle everything. You know, he's a young. People don't forget. He's only 25 years old, man. 24, fucking 24, probably even younger. Well, he's done everything in the game. He's just such a great ambassador for the game, for the Indigenous game, for everything. Embrace the kid. But maybe he doesn't want to be embraced, so fuck his.
Well, one thing with the whole South-East rivalry, and this does my head in, as you are aware, my hatred of managers, but this bloke who's not even a manager, he has been involved in Joseph Suaalii's career up until this point. He has decided that it's his place, and bearing in mind that this bloke is a massive South supporter, like he is a huge South supporter, and he brought him to the South. Yeah. So you've got a bloke who's not actually actively involved in Suaalii's career come out and said that 100% the Roosters need to move on James Tedesco, who is clearly the best player in the world.
Was this after, like, Friday's performance as well?
Maybe.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Was it Henry?
And then Tedesco beat unbelievable on Friday night. Like
he's been unbelievable for 5 or 6 years. Like the best in the world.
He'll end up captaining Australia. And this bloke,
he has the audacity to even say anything.
To even come out and say that. I'll tell you what it does, Will. Isaac Moses is now representing, so they've got another manager involved. So that worries me straight away. This kid, we spoke about it last week.
Sorry, who is this guy?
Is
he called the art dealer? They call him
the art dealer. I think he has been involved. I think he's been good in the Suaalii's family's life up until this point.
Yeah,
but now he's a 19-year-old man. Right? And he's making his own decisions. And every time he speaks, every time he holds himself, every time, like the whole thing as well, when that whole South-East Rugby Union thing was coming out, he never said a word. All people spoke about him. So you get this kid at that stage was probably not prepared for that level of scrutiny. Now, with him being as good as he is, and the Rugby Union's going to pay him $468 billion a season to play this. And
Lira, but it's Lira, so it works out.
And then all of a sudden, you've dragged this kid's name through the mud again for no reason. At no point has he said that he's going to sign with Rugby Australia. At no point has he, like, imagine him going into training, a 19-year-old going into training and looking at James Tedesco in the face and going,
Hey, Teddy, what's up?
Hey, I'm taking your spot next year.
Did you read the news, Teddy?
I said that. That was me.
That's all me.
You're gone. You're out. Or otherwise, I'm going to go. Where are you going to go? You're in the best system for a kid of that age. I just don't get it.
It's awful from that. I think, like, hopefully this guy is just come out of this and just been like, he's just way out. Obviously, he's way out of line. I don't know why he said it for. Is he trying to get some clout? Is he trying to get famous? I'm not sure. He obviously does some work for young Joey. Keep doing that. You're doing some good stuff. But if he's not doing, like, keep your circle nice and tight, Joe. If guys like this are coming out saying some outlandish shit, he's not the one who has to front up to training.
100%.
He's not that kid who has to get out and look at Teddy and the senior players and all these guys that have been there for like 5, 6, 7 years, won premierships and like have built this bond together forever, and he doesn't have to turn up. You've got to face Teddy and the rest of the group. Regardless if you didn't even say anything, they're probably thinking, why would he? Like, they're not going to look at Joseph sidewards going, oh yeah. They're probably thinking the same as us, like, hey mate,
kid.
tighten that circle up, mate. If you can't have this guy come out saying this shit at this time of your career, it'd be different. He's never played fullback in rugby league for the Roosters in the NRL. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if, just say, Teddy missed the first 12 games, and then Joey had to play for whatever, for the amount of games where he's just a super freak, and you're like, fuck, this could be like, he could take Teddy's spot. Not when Teddy's been playing fucking golden boot material, and he's, you know what I mean? He's one of our best players of all time. Not when he's doing that. Like, just say if he had the runs on the board and he's been killing it all year at fullback, Teddy's been out, now Teddy's coming back. Maybe something like that could have been said. Not with this absolute garbage. Like, Joseph's had a great year. He's a great kid. He does everything right. I can't sing high enough praises for that kid. But this guy here just needs to shut the fuck up. Let him play football. You know what I mean? Like, just like, this coming into the semi-finals time. And Joseph didn't even play on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? How much pressure? Like, he wants to be out there playing. He's not even playing, putting his, like, killing it. So then give this guy a little bit of merit. And he plays on the wing. You know what I mean? Like, let the kid play fullback one day. Like, don't just try and say, like, he hasn't been tried and tested at this level, at fullback, at origin level, at Australian level, like your boy Teddy has. Pick your poison, mate. You can't go at people like Tedesco. Dude's a god.
How long was Minicello on the wing for?
Minicello, exactly. You got to do your time. Minicello, all these great fullbacks. Tuivasa-Sheck. 2 or 3 years. Bang, fullback. Then straight back to the Warriors. Minicello, 2000, 2001, 2002, fullback. Luke Diamond Phillips was fullback. Minicello, fullback, 2003. You know what I mean? You 2 or 3 years of playing on the wing, and then you develop into a fullback. He can develop into whatever the hell he wants to. I don't know what position he's going to be. Centre, fullback, wing, 5'8", whatever. He's got the skill set to do anything. But just ease up, mate. Art gallery, fucking whatever you're called, art dealer. Just chill out. Like, let the young kid grow and develop into the player he's going to be. You obviously don't know anything about the game. You know what I mean? You never played the game, or you just run your mouth. Just shut up because you're making Joseph look bad.
The smell of semi-final football, William.
You can smell it.
You can smell it. I thought it was Henry, but it's
Henry too.
Yeah, it's Henry also. It's mostly Henry, actually. Panthers, Eels. The Panthers have been boosted by Taylan May being able to play ridiculously, and the Eels have got the wood on Penrith.
Yeah.
There's no question. So this is a good game. It's on Friday night. It's at Bluebet Stadium.
Is there a bad game, but?
There's probably not actually this week.
No.
Yeah. Normally the 8, and you look at the 5-8 and you go, that's a shit game. But
yeah, it's not a shit game.
It's not. No, because the Raiders are going all right. So,
yeah.
Well, Penrith, Para, I think you have tipped Para.
Yeah.
So what is it that you think Para are going to do to beat Penrith?
I just think they'll be relentless through the middle. They can handle their forward pack. Their back five will be good enough to get out of yardage because Cleary can put it on a fucking dime. Where you got Clint Gutherson, Sevo, Wanga Blake, Penasini, Opacek. That's your back five. They can get out pretty easy. Where Penrith really rely on that kick, cage kick they call it. They probably kick from just before halfway or just on halfway. Try and pin you in your 10 meters. It's a pretty, these kickers make it look easy. They can kick it from their 40, pin you in your 10. The kick chase plus about 2 or 3. You got kick out, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo, Api Coruscant, Fisher Harris, and Leota. They're all down there in droves, mate. And they hit you, and they don't even try. They don't try and put you on you. They want to lift you and drive you back. Their first thing. Their first impact is big, bang it. Bang, and then pick you up, drag you back about 4 or 5 meters. It's fucking, it's embarrassing what they've been doing to some lesser teams this year, if you have a close look. But I just think Gutherson's strong enough. Mike Acevo was strong as hell. He's come back into his own form. And Wanga Blake, they're big bodies. Penasini, big body. Opacek, probably not as big, but I don't think he'd be doing those runs. I think their back five can nullify that. They'll get out of yardage quite easy, and then you'll get into you Papali'i. If they kick to that right side, you got Papali'i coming on their 3rd or 4th tackle. Left side, you got Sean Lane on that left edge, and then through the middle, you got Paulo and RCG, Campbell Gillard. That just don't stop. Play big minutes, big meters. They got good passes, got good offloads. Papali'i hits holes. Lane's on fire, like he's got offloads coming out his ass. He runs good lines. Gutherson doing his thing out the back. And then their bench, I'm not real sold on the young Arthur kid. But then you got Nikora and Makatoa and some other kid. Kafusi. Yeah. They rip in as well.
Yeah, they do.
But I think Penrith's got a better bench.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if when Makatoa and Arthur come on last week, they lost something.
They lost, yeah.
Where Penrith just doesn't matter. So you're in, you're out. Boom, boom, boom. They just don't really lose that much. So I just think their skill set, and I think they just got the wood on Penrith.
How much of a factor?
Dylan Brown, Moses, and Mitch Moses been on fire. Be filthy from last year still. They've been carrying that probably from last year that they got beaten that semi-final. They probably thought they could have won it last year if things went their way. So, plus they just genuinely hate each other.
How much of a factor will Nathan Cleary's match fitness be?
Not that much. I just think Cleary's I think his timing might be off.
Yeah.
Because he went from, I think, just say 5 rounds ago, round 20, just say round 20, just come out of Origin, and there's a bit of a lull, and then that happens. So he wasn't on point right where they are now, where they've built in the last 2 or 3 weeks. You've seen the footy go from there to there. And Para's been one of those teams that just have climbed, and they're a way better team than they were 10 rounds ago. And I just think the kick pressure that will be coming from Parramatta, that Reid Marnie is relentless on kick pressure, and he'll be in Cleary's face all day. I don't think Luai will be doing that much kicking. Api Coruscant doesn't do much kicking, so he's their number one dude. So the kick pressure that'll be on Cleary will be immense, and it's just whether he can get his timing right. And a few things. It won't take him long to catch up to speed, but the kicks will be the main thing, and the kick pressure will be the main thing for Para. And just getting out of yardage and just playing the percentages and getting good ball in their area instead of kicking 30 metres or 40 metres off your line, and then, like Dylan Edwards catches it on his 30. Next minute, they're at halfway by tackle 2. And that's how they just keep going like that, and they just fucking choke you. So the lesser teams, they just go, fuck it, and they end up giving up a try. But this is semi-final football, and this is Parramatta. I think they can win. They can nearly win that field position.
Yeah,
I think they can, because Moses got a big boot on him too. Marnie kicks some dummy half, and Dylan Brown can kick. So they got probably more strike weapons. And I just think if they play to their best to their best, like 1 to 17, play 1 to 17, but everyone plays their best game, I reckon Para's got that X factor.
Well, speaking of X factor, the Storm probably are missing a bit of X factor with sort of the injuries that they've had, and the Raiders have been on a tear, haven't they? I think they've won 7 of their last 8, and they've won them well. Like, it's not like they're not winning, they're not falling over the line in games. They're actually putting sides away. So I think this is actually going to be a good game of footy. I look at that and I say it's Storm $1.35 and the Raiders $3.25. Yeah. I feel like there's a bit of value there for the Raiders.
There's value with the Parramatta's $3.10.
Yeah, I know.
Like, come on, man. That's massive disrespect.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it'd be like $2.20 or something like that. At least double you. Triple your money.
That's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about gambling, but
I think.
What do you think about this game? I'm tipping the Raiders. I just think they have a relentless pack. They got a bunch of dogs in there. You know what I mean? Like the Tapines, Tarpanés, and Hudson Youngs, and Elliots, and Elliot Whitehead, and then Elliot. The other Elliot, and then your hooker's pretty good. Wolford's pretty good. And then you got Starling off the bench, Horsburgh, Hawiranara. Like they got some, like Gula. They got some just real big fucking bodies. They just don't stop. They're not scared of anyone. And then you got Jack Whiten, who's playing like a fucking gun. Like they are killing it, mate.
Jamal Fogarty's made
Jamal
a big
Fogarty's
difference
big.
to them too. Yeah,
he kicks good. His defense is awesome.
Yeah.
Like Sebastian Chris has been playing with the Timoko, Kotrick, Savage, Rapana, White, and Fogarty. Like they got a good side.
It's a good side.
Let's not fucking look at their side. Like our Melbourne's Nick Meaney, Noel Faluna, Seve, Olam, Coates, and Munster and Hughes. So you're putting Munster at fullback, and you're looking at Nick Meaney in that front line. You'll be getting a lot of attention defensively.
Oh,
Nick
sure.
Meaney.
Yeah.
Hey, don't get it wrong. Jerome Hughes, they're forward pack. Josie Bromwich, Sofa Solomon, Kafusi Bromwich, Josh King. Then you talk about Big Papa, Tarpanay, Young, Elliot Whitehead, and Elliot. I think they've got a little bit more football in them.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're not scared of anyone. Canberra. They don't give a shit who you are. They're going to come out there and they're just going to bash you.
More scared of Ricky Stewart than the other team.
Yeah, they are. And I just look at the bench of Melbourne. Brandon Smith, obviously a gun. Kamikamitha, Trent Lorio, and Chris Lewis. They're just role players, man.
Yeah.
They don't do much. They don't do anything special. They haven't got that bench. They haven't got Big Nelson on the bench. They haven't got, like any of these guns that they've had in the last couple of years. So they're gonna have to play their best football, Melbourne, or otherwise, fucking Canberra could get them.
Sharks Cowboys will be a good game too, because the Sharks. I saw a stat saying the Sharks have had a pretty easy run in. They've played only like one top 8 side in their last 8 rounds or something. And I mean, obviously they've done really well and they've had a great season, but Cowboys at full strength, they've been good.
They've been unbelievable.
I tend to think, if I look at these Sharks Cowboys games, I see more chance of winning the premiership, being honest, from 5 to 8 than I do from the top 4. Like, I look at that and I go, Panthers, Eels, probably Storm, Rabbitohs, Roosters, I would have above the Sharks and the Cowboys.
Yeah, yeah. I just think, I mean, I look at Toby Rudolph being out for 3 or 4 weeks. Talakai missed a fair bit of football. Connor Tracy's missed a fair bit of football. William Kenny's just coming back.
He's just come back.
Finucane's just coming back. Royce Hunt hasn't played that many big minutes. A lot of these guys haven't played massive minutes. You know what I mean? Where I look at this team like a Jordan McLean, Reece Robson, Ruben Cotter, Leilua, Nanai, Taumalolo pack.
It's a big pack.
Tom Gilbert, Cohen Hess, Griven Name. That fucking bench. Tabuai Fido. That's a strong pack.
That's a better pack.
It's a better mobile pack. They all play big minutes and they're all fucking aggressive. And they're all got high skill level, and even their backs. You know what I mean? Drinkwater's been on 5. Felt, Holmes, Hiku, Tuolangi, Tom Deard, and Townsend. I think they're a very well balanced side. I just think they can. I reckon they could really they could give it to Cronulla, but it's going to be like Saturday night at Shark Park, 11,500 already sold out. They'll be hard to beat. Their Sharks. They will be hard. They'll make it messy.
It'll be a messy game.
It'll be messy because they just don't. They don't want that flamboyant sort of football, even though Cronulla had put points on teams this year. I reckon last week's game nearly fucking... I had to turn it off for 15 minutes ago. I was fucking killing me, that Newcastle Knights game. The Knights and Cronulla game. Worst game I've ever seen for ages. I just think, they'll try and ball the hell out of the Cowboys. Cowboys will just play football, man. If it's a good Saturday night, it's going to be some fucking good football played then.
If it's wet, it'll favour the Sharks for sure.
It's going to be so boring.
Yeah. It will be.
And they'll make it messy. They'll play in the middle third. They'll just get to their kicks and they'll chase, do all the little things. But guess who's good at that now? The Cowboys.
Yep.
And they're fit as anything.
So the last game's probably... I mean, there's 2 rivalry games. There's the Battle of the West and the Battle of the East. So the Roosters were lucky in that without Cook and Murray was only on the field for 1 minute, the South middle was just shot to pieces, and they rolled through the middle, and Lodge has been fantastic for them. But I think this is going to be a very, very close game. Like, it's a flip of a coin, this game.
This one is, yeah. Because, understand, Damien Cook's coming back as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Damien Cook and Cam Murray, the amount of...
And Campbell Graham.
And Campbell Graham, good defensive centre. Like, the amount of quick play the balls Cameron Murray gets them on the front foot, then Totola takes that next one, and then the next one, you know what I mean? That starts it on a roll. Or if Cam Murray gets an offload away to Damien Cook, where last week they had that, I'm not sure who it was, like, I think Harvilli played and some other little kid played 14.
Or something.
Yeah, like...
He's a good
player, but as soon as he got the ball, he doesn't count numbers as quick as Damien Cook. He registers in his head, surveys the field, knows where to go. He knows where Latrell is, he knows where Cody is, he knows where everyone is, he knows where he looks at the middles, he knows where Lodge is, Hargraves. He can put that in his head real quick. That's the difference. That's why his runs aren't flukes when he makes these line breaks. Or if he bounces out one way, comes back the other way, and Cody Walker's hitting the other side of the ruck. He understands the game. Cameron Murray, beautiful offload. Damien Cook surveys the field, knows exactly where to go because he counts numbers good. He's smart like that. And that's what they miss out. So he can survey the field, boom, next minute, fucking Latrell's out the back, Cody's out the back, Alex Johnson scoring in the corner. Shit can happen so quick with South, you know, and that's what they missed last week because, you know, no Cam Murray, nothing around the ruck. It was all one out. Nichols, Totola, no quick play. The balls got put on their back. Tom Burgess, everybody got nullified. Where Cam Murray is like, you know, he can take pressure off the young Ilias kid because he can go to the right side. He can drop someone off. He can hit the front guy. Kalol Matangi can run into those holes. Like, it just took so much of their football away. And, like, even with Victor Radley not being in that side with the Roosters, he still doesn't do as much as what Cam Murray does for South. Like, it's like you could so he didn't play. You put Siwa Takiaho at lock and you start Lodge. You still got some big bodies in there. You know what I mean? You don't really miss that ball playing around the ruck because you still got Sam Walker, because you still got Kiri. That Illis is still a young kid. And Cody Walker generally just sits on that left side. So it's like, it was hard. So once he went out, I was like, oh, the creativity around the ruck is going to be so boring. It's going to feed right into the fucking Roosters' hands. They're just going to monster him. And that's what they did. You know what I mean? Like, now, hopefully Cam Murray's back. Victor Radley's going to be back. So, Victor Radley is important. He's very important to the Roosters. But as soon as Cam Murray went, out. It sort of evened it up straight away.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, fuck. All right, because I backed South. I was like, we're done. And then Manu went out, and I'm like, well, we're proper fucked now. Because I knew Tupou and Suaalii was coming back with Vic Radley, that's one thing I never thought was going to get injured, Manu.
Yeah.
And he's been their best player. So I was just like, fuck. Really brought him back to the field. So anyway, it'll be a good game. I just think it's a toss of a coin. I had South on that message, then I'll put Roosters. I don't know why.
I'll have to change mine then.
Willie's Big Boys.
Big boys, last week of the big boys. So who is going to win? They're on fire this week. The first vote goes to Siwa Takeyaho because the dude was an absolute beast against South, and South still had a pack. And you got to understand that crowd, the atmosphere. It was semi-final football, wasn't it?
It was 100%.
So to play like that, him and Matt Lodge were outstanding. Hargraves was outstanding for the minutes that he was on. Hopefully, I'm not sure about him this week. Hargraves with the hamstring. He didn't come back on, did he?
No, he didn't. He played 17 minutes, didn't come back on.
And I think maybe they thought that because Cam Murray was off, it sort of evened it up.
I think they probably just didn't
something like that.
I'd probably risk him.
But yeah, the big boys are on fire on the weekend. It was hard to pick them actually because they were all on fire. So 2 points goes to Regan Campbell Gillard, just because they played outstanding on the weekend. The amount of meters in that they were making. It was just where's my phone? Stat wise, he was just on fire. Like he didn't stop, and I think he played like 63 minutes. You know what I mean? He played against the Melbourne Storm. Like they're relentless Melbourne Storm. You know what I'm saying? So like for him to even play those minutes against those guys, 64 minutes, 20 hit-ups, 185 meters, 75 post contact, 21 tackles. You know
That's
what I mean?
a big shift.
It's huge, mate. It is huge. And 3 points. Like it's his partner in crime. So in 49 minutes, Big Junior Paulo, 21 hit-ups, 216 metres, 90 post-contact. He did only make 12 tackles. That's awesome. I love those stats. They look like my stats.
That's Mason's
stats. That's my stats. I love it. Yeah, but they all would have been fucking... and 3 offloads, you know what I mean? Like his second phase game's been outstanding all year. Yeah, so that is my 3-2-1 vote. And the leaderboard is... So what happens here? Is this the winner? Or are we going to go to the end?
I don't know.
We went to the end last year. Okay, so anyway, coming in third is Regan Campbell Gillard on 13. Second, Fisher Harris on 15. And equal first, Taumalolo and Junior Paulo. Good. So... That's about it. Anyway, they were. Everyone was pretty good. It was hard to pick. I don't just, as I said, I don't look at meters and I don't look at all that bullshit. I see where you're making your meters and I know who you're playing and how physical it is. You know, I'm not going to give it to you when you're playing against the Knights or some team or the Titans or some team that's way off the Tigers. Like it was hard. I wanted to give Big Papa some points because of his outstanding. I'm like, but you did against the Tigers.
Well, last week we won nothing, but did we win anything? No, we won nothing.
No, that's when you didn't put my bet on.
No, that's from the week before. But last week I did put your bet on.
We'd be $4.5 grand if we won.
No, I think he hasn't taken it off yet.
Oh, you're fucked.
Yeah, he didn't take it off. So we're over $3 grand though to some lucky club. So what about me?
Did we win on the weekend?
No, because I forgot to put my bet on until the last minute, and then I put mine on. I had to do a same game multi for Cronulla.
What's wrong with you?
I've been very social lately. Been very social.
100%. Sorry.
And then
it's code word for drunk.
I went a same game multi. I had 6 legs in the Cronulla game, and all of them got up except for Matt Ikavalu. So I'm going to write him a angry email.
Angry email.
Actually, I'm going to write a letter.
With
the
quill.
Pen. The pen.
Bring the quill out.
So
the quill.
The quill. So this week I have taken, and I don't. You know what? After all of that, I've changed my mind. But the Panthers 1-12 because that'll be a close game either way. The Raiders with 8.5 start because that'll be a close game, and the Roosters 1-12. Right. That's paying $13.
What's my one? Go,
yours is the Eels with 8.5. 8.5 start for the Eels. That's
so disrespectful.
Raiders with 9.5. You get more than me.
Another disrespect.
Sharks less 2.5. Ooh, Cowboys there. And Roosters, Rabbitohs, 42.5. Yeah,
better be good, Bobby. Shout out to Bobby too. His boys. Sorry, we'll finish this and I'll go.
No, go. While you're here.
So Bobby is so St. Chrissy's. Congratulations to the under-16 St. Chrissy's team, the team I've been working with all, little bits of the year, to get out there. So they're in the grand final for this week against Rouse Hill. So I was at the game on the weekend. I was like, because I've been coaching them and stuff like that. I was on the sidelines with them. Like, it was at Belmore.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was at Belmore. So, so everything that we do work on at training, I can see how, Ricky Stewart loses his shit on the sidelines.
It's the most frustrating thing in the world.
And they played Cabramatta and they beat him 28-0. Now, I think Cabramatta made a formal complaint because, I was on there telling the boys what to do, some of the little tips and that. And they're like, Willie Mason's not
accredited
accredited trainer.
Oh,
a trainer. You know what I mean? You fucking whingers.
Cabramatta.
Oh my God, get over it.
Back in the box, Cabramatta.
Because Big Bobby just told me then. He goes, they're putting a formal complaint. I said, what are they gonna fucking do?
Oh, that's the worst.
If I was dressed like normal, I had a hoodie on and shit. Of course, I'm not a fucking trainer.
Did you take a hit up?
No, if you didn't take a hit up, and there was officials there, if the officials had a problem with it, they would have put me into the stands.
Yeah, ground marshal could have come in.
Yeah, but no. But yeah, apparently they put a complaint in.
If you're
I'm the one who got him the win.
If you're from Cabramatta, pull your head in. It's kids' sport. Relax.
Oh, it's kids' sport. There's no way that I would say, I was embarrassed. I said, you're kidding me. I said, what, me just trying to inspire these young kids and just tell them a couple of little tips and everything. I wouldn't score on your tries.
Were you screaming like a lunatic on the
side? No, I'd bring him every time they scored. I'd bring him in and tell them exactly what to do. Little things like that.
Oh, were you going on the field?
No. I'm staying on the seats. Just they'd all come over when we need to talk and said, this is what you need to do, X, Y, and Z. And
they should have just got you a training shirt like those.
Well, I've got to be an accredited trainer now. I've got to do a course if I want to go there this week because it's at, I don't know, Wentworthville at the ground. I mean, the grand final was at the 4 o'clock, so I might be out there on Saturday.
That's a long way to go.
Yeah, if I'm not the trainer, I'm not going.
You got to do a course, sucked in. So the producer has taken the Eels, the Storm, and the Roosters. That's paying $11. Is that you? Do you know what? He's banned now. You make the bets from now on. He does nothing. The producer.
I was looking at Woogie to do it.
Woogie.
That's how.
I'm just excited. Woogie's asleep today. Well done, Wook. I think he was chasing a ball before. So in terms of the tips, you went the Eels, the Raiders, the Cowboys, and you went the Rabbitohs. So I went the exact opposite. So I went the Panthers, Storm, Sharks, and Roosters. But now you have gone the Roosters. So I'm going to go the Rabbitohs.
Okay, one of us will win.
Which are you going to go?
Whatever opposite you're going.
I'd already picked mine.
Well, I'll just go. Yeah, well, you'll go the Roosters then. I'll go South. I'll stick to South.
You're sticking to South.
Yeah. Because I think it's a Cam Murray and Damien Cook factor.
Callum Murray. We've got quite a few questions this week. So, hang on. Here we go. So, there's some good ones here too. Do I have COVID? No. Thanks for asking. Con, he got a question last week. He's got a new one. With the addition of a club next year, we need to increase the size of the pool of players. How do we do that, and which areas are untapped?
I mean, I'm not in development, but I know most areas are tapped. We're trying to get as many players as we can. I mean, it's just the development. Something's gone missing in development in most clubs, because we're not doing it as good as we used to. I think it's going missing around about the 15-year-olds. They sort of seem to lose interest, and I think it's the size difference too. Like if you're playing in Western Sydney, you'd understand that. If you've been playing in Newcastle your whole life or in the eastern suburbs, then all of a sudden you go play against Mount Druitt or something, dudes are big. So you can really get put off the game. Parents are taking kids and playing other sports and all that kind of stuff. So I think that just to try and, I think we need to, just get these young kids and keep them in our game at a certain. I've said it a couple of years ago. I just think just say if you're 15 years old and you get touted as the next big thing. I think the NRL should have there's an academy or something. So okay, we look at you as the next leaders of the game. You know what I mean? Just say if you're a 15, 16-year-old, because that's where we're losing a lot of these kids. They lose interest, and because they can make the rep teams, and they just don't. I don't know. Shit just happens. Life happens. But if you incentivize these young kids, that's the word I'm looking for, and go, okay, you put them in leadership leadership things to do and like cultivate them to be better people, all that kind of stuff, and give them like incentivize them to stay in our game, pay them like a different amount of money, like tell them that they're on a different level than your normal sort of kids, so we can keep the best 20, 15, 16-year-olds in our game. Instead of they go to soccer, they go to AFL, they go to union. So if you have some sort of idea at that age, at such a young age, and just say if I was 15, 16, the NRL go, they look at you as like a future leader of the game, you're like, fuck, I'd stay here. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be just little things like that. But if you're 15, you just go through the system, no one really gives a shit about you. You'd have that attitude. You'd be like, fuck it, I'll just go to union. I don't care, they don't really like me here anyway. You know, it gets a little bit political, all that sort of shit. But if you fucking incentivize these younger kids and just go, okay, well, you stay in the sport here, there's a clear path for you to be an NRL player, hopefully a future rep player, but like have a path for these kids. That's why they have pathways now, but there needs to be another level of pathways. Like I do pathways with the Dogs, but it's like if you're one of our best kids, you need to be on another level. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where the NRL should come in and go, this is where we look at you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think things like that. The kids, there's little things you can just help a little bit, like
improving existing rather than finding
like you can just
new.
Like you can improve on little things, and it's like the game doesn't want to do it. So fuck, I don't know. That's my idea anyway. That'd be my idea. If because we lose these good 15, 16-year-olds to other fucking sports and other codes.
Con was asking about your opinion, so that's why.
Yeah, that's mine.
So John Callahan, I hope I'm saying that right, John. She's a Warriors and Roosters supporter. If the Panthers weren't in the top 8, who would be your pick for the grand final?
Parramatta Roosters, I reckon.
Yep.
That sounds all right.
She said if you got rid of them and brought in the Broncos, but I feel like the Broncos you can probably leave out of the grand final discussion. Kel, he loves the podcast. Good on you, Kel. What are your thoughts on Taylan May's suspension? We've answered that one.
It's funny.
Domo Mac. Domo wants to know if any idea, this is a good question, if former players are looked after and what resources are available for the NRL for the welfare. Some seem to be thrown on the scrap heap once past their use-by date.
Yeah, I think, I don't think the game takes care of the players medically good enough. I've always said that. I think it should be levels to it. Like just say when Cam Smith retired a couple of years ago, he'd play put 18 years in or something like that. And then a kid who maybe played 3 years in the game, he decided to retire, or 4 years, done nowhere near as much damage to his body as Cam Smith, or put in that work. He gets the exact amount of medical as Cam Smith. So I just think it should be levels like where if you play 1 to 5 years, you get 2 years. If you've been a professional, like 1 to 5 years, 2 years, and 5 to 10, it should be, or maybe, just say you get 5 years or something like that.
So just to be clear, this is so the NRL will pay for medical bills
for 2 years, after you retire.
So you've got a period of time.
You've got a period of time,
that.
yeah, and that's it. As soon as it's done, then you got to go into things like in my private health fund and that as well. But some can't afford that. Some haven't haven't looked after their money. They haven't done enough. You know what I mean? Like they don't care that much. I just think there should be levels to it. If you put in 1 to 5 years worth of work, you probably get 2 years medical, like it is now. 5 to 10, it should be like nearly 5 years. 10 plus, 10 years, 15 plus life. I think guys like Cam Smith and all those sort of dudes who put 15 years plus into the NRL, it should be a lifetime of medical. They should pay for your medical bills because you fuck your body up that. I'm even in that. I put 17 years in. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, I don't remember 2 years after I retired. Like 2017 and 18. I was traveling all around. My body wasn't that banged up. But like when I'm 42 now, I'm like, well, like I stay on top of things all the time. Constantly going to chiro, constantly doing these things. Like,
but you train every day.
Yeah, I do train.
There's plenty of people that don't look after their bodies.
I know
the way
that,
you
but
do
I'm still
too.
like chiro like chiro and all that kind of stuff, and like going to recovery centers and all that sort of stuff. Because you just feel worse if I don't move. If I don't move,
sure.
The game should be. That's the number one thing that I hate about the game. And in the CBA, it should be the next CBA. It should be plugged. They should be trying to do that instead of all we do is look for the salary cap to go up so we can get more money. We don't give a fuck about what happens to like players who just retire. And I just think the game can do a hell of a lot more with the welfare and all that of players trying to, even though they do a lot. They do a lot. There's a lot of resources there that these players can use, but choose not to. I think that's so accountability to players as well. It's not like the game just fucking uses you and chucks you away. If you want to go and have if you want a job or do anything for the NRL, they're always willing to take people on to do welfare and do all that. It's up to you if you're willing to do it. I always look at Robbie Rockow. Played in Newcastle. He knew he wasn't going to be a super duper star and earn like, $600-700 million a year. What he did was use the NRL as much as the game uses you. Now he's a civil engineer. He's going to be a civil engineer till he's like 60, 70 years old because the game will pay for anything that you want. If it's for any course, whatever you want, you could be I want to be a rocket science. All right, we'll pay for it. You know what I mean? While you're doing your football, but because these rugby league players get into the system and think, fuck, sweet, I'm a full-time player, I don't have to do shit, I'm going to be a superstar. No, that's 1% of us.
It's a shame.
That's 1% of us, and they don't have the right people around them to fucking ground them and tell them, hey, look, you're not that good. You're probably going to earn probably $200,000 a year max, maybe, like Robbie Rockow was. But he's like, all right, well, I'll stay in the system and I'll be full time for about as long as I can keep finishing my civil engineer thing. Now he's been retired for 3 or 4 years. His body got banged up. He knew his body wasn't like in that good a nick. He's a civil engineer. Do you know what I mean? Like he can work for fucking ever now and earn a shitload of money. Like I always tell these young kids that. Like Robbie Rockow knew he wasn't going to be that. I'm like, now he's this for the rest of his life because he used the game as much as, because, everyone go, oh, the game used me, all these fucking, yeah, you use the game as well. It's a fucking 50-50 game. You know what I mean? Next one up. You're retired, next one up. They forget about Cam Smith, Jonathan Thurston, myself, Sonny Bill, all these guys. We're just part of the game. Understand that. And it's about educating these kids about how it really is in the real life. That's why I love what I'm doing at the Bulldogs when I talk to these young kids. I explain to them like this. It's fucking 0.2% that get to where I got to. 0.2% out of 9,500 people that have ever played NRL. Get to achieve over 300 games and the tests, origins, and grand finals. Out of 9,500 people, 1% has played 100 games. Do you know what I mean? 0.5 has played 200. It gets fucking less and less and less. And that's everyone who's ever played NRL. So what the fuck do you think you're going to do? You're playing SG ball. You know what I mean? Like, get your head out of the clouds. Get it. You got dreams, everyone, but be a realist. Be a realist. I try and tell these kids, just try and get to, keep picking up skill levels, all that kind of stuff. Your skills up, back, good habits, discipline, all that kind of stuff. Be good. Get to first grade. Hope to have a successful career. Doesn't mean you're going to play for Australia, New South Wales, win grand finals, but you can still earn good money and be smart enough to be doing other things because you do have so much fucking time as an NRL player. You just think it's fucking draining. Oh, God, preseason. You train like about 3 hours a day if you look at it. You know what I mean? You do your session, you have your recovery, all that kind of stuff. You have so many hours in a day if you want to do something else. You can do it. They just don't want to do it. You just don't want to do it because, you just think you're going to be this superstar NRL player. Like, you're not. As I said, it's like 0.2% out of every player that's played the game. So there's a lot. I mean, I could sit here and talk all day about it, but the game needs to. Yeah, the game. You need to. You can use the game as much as the game uses you. If you really wanted a job, you could work for the NRL.
Last question. Have you heard of Bhuja mix? BHUJA mix. BHUJA mix.
Bhuja? Bhuja?
Yeah, Bhuja. So Anton, who's our mate from New Zealand, he's asked, what's your take on Bhuja mix? I feel like it's a perfect finals footy snack, but I might be alone on this. To me, it's as underrated as Wade Egan. So
Wade Egan.
I looked it up.
I rate Wade Egan.
I looked it up.
Bhuja mix.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's plain food. It looks like it's trail mix. Who I don't know.
Is it food? Is it what? Is it music?
No, it's like when you get on a plane and they give you those little bits. They're not nuts, but they're like.
I thought you said mix. Like a fucking
not a mix
music mix.
No, it's like a food stuff. No good.
No, I don't.
So
like
Anton, I'm going to get it. I'm going to try it. We're going to find it, and I'm going to have it. And I'm going to let you know. But for now, it's a no from us.
No Bhuja.
No Bhuja mix. Well, that's the end. And as you can see, we do read out the questions you send in. So send them in. We love them. We will be Twittering this week. We will be. What are we doing?
Rate and review. I was going to say thanks sponsors. MosesTake.com. Get on there. Have a look at that. Ask some questions.
Get on YouTube.
Rate and review. All that sort of shit, man. Just do whatever. Just watch the show.
They'll be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL is Willie Mason.
I've forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake Media Network.